Unclassified.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this year's Hall of Honor induction ceremony. Thanks to all of you for joining us here today as we pay tribute to the cryptologic legacy of 5 giants of our profession. It's an honor also to welcome our great partner and my good friend, Sir Jeremy Fleming, Director of GCHQ. Today's celebration reflects the shared values between our 2 organizations and also our 2 nations, as we honor not only former NSAers, but also a team of extraordinary talented professionals from our closest partner, GCHQ. I want to thank the families also of each of today's inductees. Your support at home throughout the careers of your loved ones was absolutely critical to their achievements in the field of cryptology. You are all part of their legacy. This is one of my favorite times of the year because it gives me a moment to recognize some of the brilliant people who built the foundation of what we do today. People are and always have been our greatest asset and our competitive advantage in the defense of our nation and our allies. And that's why every year for the last 23 years, my predecessors and I have taken a moment of pause to celebrate some of the extraordinary cryptologic pioneers who came before us. The standards for induction into the Hall are high. Over the agency's 70-year history, hundreds of thousands of extraordinary, exceptionally talented cryptologic professionals have walked these halls. But only 99 people have achieved this distinction, and after today, that number will increase to 104. These innovative cryptologic heroes have made exceptional contributions to the security of our nation and our allies, and have had a lifetime of high achievement in the cryptologic field. So on behalf of the National Security Agency, I want to thank the inductees and their families for these extraordinary contributions to the cryptologic field. And now, without further ado, let me invite Mr. John Tokar, Chief of the Center of Cryptologic History, to introduce our new inductees.
Joseph E. Gilligan Jr. was a pioneer in signals intelligence collection and exploitation capabilities, and he led NSA through the communications revolution of the 1980s. He had a true passion for the collection mission and a determination to get things done. An expert in conventional collection, he was also a visionary who realized the kinds of technology NSA needed to remain relevant in a time of far-reaching technical change. Mr. Gilligan could be demanding and tough, but he had an impressive ability to work across NSA and the intelligence community to acquire the people and capabilities needed to build high technology programs for which there was no precedent. As one who worked for Joe put it, quote, he had pit bull resolve, an ability to deliver, and had trust in his people, giving them a fair shot regardless of their grade or gender. He was always punching above his weight in working programs with senior-level government leaders and national decision makers. Joe was known as a SIGINT professional who got the job done, even if that job seemed impossible, close quote. Mr. Gilligan received numerous awards and recognition from NSA, the intelligence community, foreign partners, and private industry for his vision, drive, and commitment to posture NSA for future technological challenges. Mr. Gilligan joined NSA in 1960, he retired in 1997, and he passed away in 2010. His wife Elizabeth is with us today, and at this time, we invite her to say a few words. Mrs. Gilligan, please, the floor is yours.
I would like to thank the people who helped to remember him for this honor, and especially Mr. Al Gray. And I would also like to say Joe always felt that he was working for peace in this world, to help to bring that about. Didn't always work out, but hopefully his work will help to bring about some peace. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. He is certainly well remembered here in the agency. Thank you very much. Mr. Jack C. Mortick was a preeminent crypto mathematician and leader over a 4-decade career at NSA. A trailblazer in the crypto mathematics community, he shaped the workforce during his time to meet many future challenges. In 1966, Mr. Mortick was hired to perform mathematics research and over the next decades developed the theories and algorithms needed to confront the most important problems of the time. In each case, Jack laid the foundation and then produced effective new algorithms or at times new applications of known algorithms. In a seminal 1972 paper, Mr. Mortick laid down fundamentals that formed the basis for NSA's mathematics work then, and they are still relied on today. His 1970s course on analysis has been the basis for NSA courses of their kind for over 30 years. In 1983, Mr. Mortick assembled a group of mathematicians for a special project, known then as the Barbershop, anticipating developments in public key cryptography. Techniques arising from this work enabled spectacular successes in the following decades. Mr. Mortick took the lead in NSA's recruitment and development of mathematics talent, serving as the first math hiring czar and instituting a definable process for evaluation of mathematics applicants. Throughout his career, Jack mentored outstanding crypto mathematical talent, and his protégés include many respected leaders of the community, including over 10 that were elevated to senior rank at NSA. Mr. Jack Mortick retired from NSA in 2007, and today his daughters, Rachel, Jennifer, and Annette, are joining us. Ladies, the floor is now yours if you would like to say a few words. Thank you.
On behalf of our family, we'd like to say thank you for bestowing this incredible honor on our dad. It makes us so happy to know that our dad's contributions are so meaningful to his colleagues and our country. And with this speech you just gave us, we learned more about his career than we had ever known before. So the website for the Hall of Honor says that the making and breaking of codes is a profession that demands intellect, patience, and imagination. I think Dad definitely saw his work as a profession, but he didn't see it as work. He drove off to Fort Meade in a mad dash every morning. He still had his coffee in his hand. That car had coffee stains all over the carpet. He was really excited to get to work and do what he had left the day before. And he felt fortunate to get paid to work with top-notch colleagues and friends. When he came home at the end of the day, he was always happy and energetic. And he was always present for us, both mentally and physically, or at least most of the time. Occasionally, we could see him get a faraway analytical look in his eye, and he would eventually come back to us and say, "Oh, we were just doing a really interesting problem today at work." And we were very curious what it was, but even if he could have told us, I don't think we would have understood. Dad loved working on teams, and he did everything he could to support the team. And although we don't know many details, a few more now, we are certain that the achievements that he was able to do at NSA were part of a team effort and not an individual effort on his part. Many of my dad's colleagues became dear friends to our whole family. A number of them are on the award ceremony today, so thank you for being here. These friends have been part of our family. They've been at graduations, they've been at our weddings, anniversaries, and birthdays. And we can tell you all that he thinks as highly of you as you do of him. Dad has continued to enjoy these friendships into retirement and had frequent breakfast, lunches, and dinners with all of these friends. And I think they still talked about math problems but mixed in with some talk about grandchildren during these meals. We thank everyone for all the support they've given us during Dad's illness. In Dad's own words, he is near the end of his story right now and has been reflecting on his life. He feels joy and satisfaction with his life and feels privileged to have done what he loves. Thank you again for this honor.
Thank you so much for sharing those memories with us, and be sure that all of our thoughts and prayers are with you and your dad in this time. So thank you. The collaborative work of Clifford Cocks, James Ellis, and Malcolm Williamson at GCHQ resulted in the discovery of public key cryptography, known as PKC, in the early 1970s. Even though outside researchers later made similar discoveries, GCHQ did not make public the accomplishments of Ellis, Cocks, and Williamson until 1997, primarily due to the potential application of non-secret encryption to national security systems. Mr. Ellis proposed the possibility of PKC as early as 1970 and later devised a public key system based on the difficulty of factoring integers. In 1974, Mr. Williamson made revisions to that system, and Mr. Cocks designed protocols for its deployment and use. The security of global communication infrastructure is built on public key cryptography, and the importance of PKC in enabling the modern world of secure banking, e-commerce, and encrypted messaging cannot be overstated. The invention of PKC alone was a major achievement, but all three of these mathematicians made numerous other contributions to joint NSA and GCHQ missions. Mr. Ellis was responsible for securing GCHQ's first commercially manufactured computer. Mr. Cocks contributed significantly to the advanced encryption standard. And after leaving GCHQ in 1982, Mr. Williamson joined the IDA's research staff in La Jolla, California, enabling high levels of cryptologic support to Operation Desert Storm, among other achievements. And together, these men mark only the second time a group of individuals has been inducted into the Cryptologic Hall of Honor. Mr. Ellis passed away in 1997 and Mr. Williamson in 2015. Mr. Cocks is joining us today. Mr. Cocks, sir, I would like to now turn the floor over to you, and then we'll hear from Mr. Williamson's spouse, Danielle. Mr. Cocks, sir.
Thank you. So firstly, I would like to thank General Nakasone, Deputy Director Barnes, and all at the agency for this honour. I realise that this is only rarely given to non-US citizens, and I would like to say how much I have valued my collaboration with co-workers at the fort, including Jack Mortick, and also at the Centres for Communication Research in Princeton and La Jolla. And indeed, my postings there have been among the highlights of my career. But for this award, I think the principal recognition should go to James Ellis for his truly original mind and for having the idea that secure communication is possible without any prior exchange. An idea that at the time seemed so outrageous, there was even an effort to find a proof that it couldn't be done. My colleague and friend Malcolm Williamson, whom I had known from school days, and I were in the right place at the right time. Newly out of university and with fresh minds, we were able to find practical implementations of James's ideas. Yet I think none of us realised how central the ideas of public key cryptography, rediscovered a few years later in academia, would become, being a fundamental component of internet security. And nor did we expect public recognition, interesting and enjoyable as it has been. GCHQ, with its collaborative and supportive work environment, has been a great place to work and base my career. And I'm lucky that I'm still able to continue researching in cryptology now at the Heilbronn Research Institute. So may I once again give my sincere thanks for this honour.
In Malcolm's behalf, Guy and I would like to thank General Nakasone and his team at the NSA for this amazing honor. Malcolm told me that when his good friend Cliff joined him at GCHQ, and shortly thereafter came up with this way of sending encrypted messages without having to separately send a key for deciphering them. He couldn't believe it. So he immediately set about trying to disprove Cliff's method. And in that process, he came up with a totally different algorithm for what was to become known as public key cryptography. Malcolm was a brilliant mathematician, but if you just met him socially, you would probably never know that. He didn't make a big deal of it. When I first met him in 1985, he was working at Nicolay Instruments in Madison, Wisconsin, on an early prototype of the first digital hearing aid. I got to go into his office and see the sound energy graphs he was playing around with. That 4-year period working at Nicolay was the only time in the 30 years that I knew him that Malcolm was not working on classified projects. And Malcolm was very good at keeping secrets. So besides the hearing aid, I never had any inkling of what he'd been working on. But that is until 1987. That was when the British government finally decided to declassify the PKC work that Cliff and Malcolm and James Ellis had worked on in the 1970s. Someone came to our home in San Diego to interview Malcolm and take photos for an article in Wired magazine, and I got to attend a couple of lectures Malcolm gave on the topic. Naturally, I was proud of what he'd figured out, and I wanted to brag about it to everyone that we knew. Malcolm wasn't very comfortable with me bragging about him, though, and I wonder how he'd feel about this honor that he's receiving today. Proud, I hope. Anyway, Guy and I, and many others that are watching today, will be proud for him. And if it's okay, did you want to?
I just wanted to say my dad might not be here, but I absolutely can picture his reaction and smile. And I know that this absolutely would mean a great deal to him. So
Thank you all.
Thank you both. We really appreciate it. Sir?
So if I might, I would like to invite Sir Jeremy Fleming, the director of GCHQ, to say a few words. Jeremy?
Good afternoon, good morning to those of you in the States. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be able to join you at this induction ceremony to celebrate the lives and the work of pioneers and heroes, and to hear the citations and the remarks of Cliff and their families. So at times like these, I think we remember why the efforts of those who work in the cryptographic agencies matter so much. Through their efforts, their brilliant, in Cliff's words, their fresh minds, we can see the unseeable, know the unknowable, and safeguard our most secret secrets. And this is as critical today and in the current crisis as it was in the periods that those we're honouring today were working, and indeed their forebearers. But it's also the case that the work of our mathematicians and cryptologists can sometimes cross over into the wider world of technology. And that's definitely the case with those we're honouring today. And it's certainly the case with my team in GCHQ. Cliff, James, Malcolm, and their pioneering work on public key cryptography, I think, has literally changed the way we relate with technology. The security of global communications has been built on their ideas, and every time I open a browser, make a purchase, interact with the internet, then there's a little bit of me that's thinking about their breakthroughs 50 years ago. Now, finally, I want to honour and pay tribute to all of their efforts. But I also want to echo what Cliff said about the strength and the resilience of the partnership with our American friends, and particularly our colleagues here today in the NSA. It is the case that we keep each other safe. That's been the case for 75 years, and it's the case today. So I really thank you for including us in this poll, and I honour the men and women who are reflected and celebrated in this ceremony. So thank you very much, Paul.
So thank you. Thank you to the families. Thank you to you, Mr. Cox. You all stand before all of us here today. You are the ones whose shoulders we stand upon. Everything you all did, all the pioneering, all the great, marvelous experiments that yielded insights and new ways of doing business, those still extend today. If I just think about what Mr. Cox did and his counterparts, it was what we try to do in our community. We always try to be ahead of what the outside thinks we can do. You all exemplified that, and we marveled then, and we still marvel today. And so thanks for everything you've done. We look forward to continuing on the journey, and next year we'll hopefully honor another set of pioneers. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for participating, and Godspeed.